In this video, we will create different types of users in Entra ID, except hybrid users. And why we are not going to create hybrid users? Because we do not have a on-premise setup in this particular case. When we get to the hybrid identity management section, that time we will create the hybrid users. So let's get on the portal. First type of user is basically local users or member users. So in the previous demo, we created several users. Whatever the users that we created in the previous demos, they all are local users. They all are member users. And you can see that user type here, right? Clearly mentioned. So I think we know what the local or member user is, right? Let's go to the service principal. How do you create a service principal? Navigate to the application and then apps registration and say new service principal. Let's say this is the service principal that you are using for GitHub workflow, right? So let's name something like that. You can also add a kind of organization detail or the project detail so that you know it is for a specific project. Select who can access this application or access this API. I think within the single tenant itself. I think we're not going to choose the rest of the other thing. Just say register. And that's it. You created a service principal. Now this service principal can be used using a client ID, um, as well as tenant ID and the secret. Okay, secret is something you have to create, something like this. Okay, just make sure that you creating in line with your security policies, because sometimes you can't create the secret which can last more than like 1 year. You have to have some kind of recycling process in place for these secrets actually. Okay, so that's how you create a service principal. That's called service principal. um, then next type is the external user. How do we do the external user? We go to the again user blade, all users, and here this is how you invite external user. Okay, I created one specific ID called intro id course at the rate outlook.com, and intro id course, something like that. Message, something, please join. You sending outside your organization, and you say review and invite, right? This is how you basically creating the external user within your tenant, right? Now we got the message, some message here. If you look at insufficient privilege to complete the operation, my understanding is that we did set up something on the external collaboration setting. Let's go ahead and look at that. I think this is the option. No one in the organization can invite guest users, including admins. So I am the admin, right? And even though I got outlook.com into the target domain, I am not in a position to send the invite. I think this is the option. So what I can do for the time being, let's go with this option, save it. Let's go back to the user blade once again. Let's try to invite the user. Because I'm the global admin, I should be in a position to invite the user actually. So that's the option. We corrected that. Let's make sure that we sending the invitation again to that particular ID. And we can send the invitation only to microsoft.com and outlook.com. You have seen that, right? Display name, Entra ID course. Let's put that Entra ID course. All right, and then some message, and let's see what happened in this case now. Okay, is processing the invitation. That's what looks like, and invitation is sent. You can see the user in the Entra ID, and that is what it looks like. And creation type invitation. That is how you clearly identify. And I got the invitation into my mailbox. This is that particular mailbox I created, and we say accept invitation, and that's how the external organization user will join to your enter ID tenant actually. All right, so let's say accept enter ID course, and that's it. You are there in the tenant now. We go back and let's go ahead and refresh and see. You know, we can see that that user accepted and can log into the tenant now. That is how you see external user as guest. User type is guest. That is how you identify. And then another thing is, let me close this, is basically the manage identities. And there are two types of manage identities. We talk about, so let's go ahead and create first user manage identities. User manage identities. I think that is called manage identity just as a service. So let's correct that. Manage identity. Yeah, I can see that. That's just a manage identity. And how do you create? It's a simple process. This is the process regarding um, user manage identity, user assign manage identity. Okay, we creating that. We naming this one maybe user assign identity, and some kind of like, let's say it is for apps one, some naming convention you can use based on how you do that within your organization, and say review and create. Now this is the special type of service principal. We learn that within the tenant, right? And here also um, uh, you get object ID, client ID, tenant ID, those kind of things, right? Only thing is that this particular identity you can't have a secret. It is managed by the Azure itself, right? We will see that how we can consume this particular identity through some external services. We'll see later. I just wanted to show you how do you create it at this stage, right? This is called user assign manage identity. For system assign manage identity, we need one resource. I think let's go ahead and quickly deploy one virtual machine, um, so that we know how to assign the system manage identity. In this case, let's select what is there. We just call it as like a VM12345 6, something like that. Doesn't matter what the name is. And rest of the things can be the default. We are less bothered about that. That's fine. I am not much more worried about that. I think let's say review and create. Any image is fine, um, to understand what the system identity looks like. Let the validation complete so that we can go ahead and hit create. Validation is completed. Let's go ahead and create this one. Download. That's fine. We got that. Let's wait for this deployment to finish so that we can understand how that system assign manage identity looks like. Okay, resource is ready. Go to the resource, and under maybe security you can see that there is identity icon, and that's it. You can see here, it's a system assign manage identity. You just toggle the switch and say on. That's it, and say okay. Now in this particular case, Azure creating a manage identity which is system assigned, and allocating that identity to this particular virtual machine, and then you can do the rollback. We'll see in the later demo how to do that. That's it. This is how you do it, right? And the life cycle of this particular identity is tied to this particular machine now. So if you delete the machine, you lose the identity. Whereas that is not the case if you got a user assign manage identity, right? I hope now you got a good understanding about various users that you can see in the enter ID.